All right, welcome back everyone to the GOATcast podcast. I am CW, joined by my man Big Nige. I know we've been gone for quite a while, but the YouTube algorithm hasn't liked us too much, so we decided to take a little vacation, let it work itself out. But what's going on, Big Nige? How you doing right now?
I'm good, man. Just gaining and maintaining best I can.
That's the way to go. That's how you got to do it. I hope you gained something from this All-Star weekend because it didn't gain a whole lot of viewers. Well, let me rephrase that. All-Star Saturday gained a lot of viewers, but I'm not sure about that All-Star game. It was a little rough. Let's say that. So, of course, this weekend or this past couple of days has been the All-Star week. A lot went on. They implemented some new things like the HBCU classics and things of that nature. We had All-Star Saturday with the 3-point contest, skills challenge. We had Steph versus Sabrina. And then, of course, we had the dunk contest. And then on Sunday, we had the All-Star game. And it's caused a lot of chatter. People are wondering what can be done to make this something interesting again. And I even think it's for both nights. I thought most of All-Star Saturday was good until the dunk contest. And then, of course, we had the East versus the West return, and we had a team scored 211 points in the All-Star game. Never done before, never done in the NBA, period. 200 points. So I'm going to let you give your thoughts on this year's 2024 All-Star weekend and what you think about what transpired out there.
Yeah, so the All-Star weekend, they definitely put emphasis on the weak part of All-Star weekend because it was pretty weak. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch very much of this All-Star weekend. But what I will say is there was some positives with this All-Star weekend. You know, that G League team, I think it was the Friday nights games.
I missed that.
Friday.
Yeah.
But they had like these talented G League players that ended up playing. And I know like you had, of course, the guy who won the dunk contest, Mac McClung, along with like Matas Buzelis. I think that's his name. He's projected as a top 10 pick. So it's good for them to show what they can do against some NBA talent. Amani Bates was on the floor with them. So the three of them looked pretty good. And they played, you know, you would think a team like with Wembanyama, Jabari Smith Jr., Jaime Jaquez Jr., Brandon Miller, like you would think that team would run this G League team, but they actually beat them. So I think that was good. It was good to showcase their skill set. Maybe even could inspire some GMs to give some of these players a shot, you know. So I like that they can showcase their skills there. I mean, the 3-point contest was cool, like normal. I think Steph versus Sabrina was a very good, like interesting competition, and she can shoot that thing. Like,
yeah,
if
she
Steph
shot it from where she
game,
yeah,
he would have lost that. And
if she shoots from where she's used to shooting, that would have probably been a different outcome.
Yeah, she was shooting. Yeah, she was shooting in the NBA range. I don't know, man. That was crazy. Like, she could have, and she would have definitely outshot a lot of them guys that was out there.
Oh yeah, I mean she matched all the guys in the 3-point contest. So
that looked good for me. Also, I mean the All-Star game. I mean, everybody has their opinions on it, and not a lot of them are great. I mean, at some point, we've been saying that something needs to change. And obviously, you know, when the late, great Kobe Bryant passed, you know, the players took it seriously. Like, they made it a point of emphasis to compete like Kobe Bryant would. And I kind of wish they'd get back to that, at least to some degree. Maybe the NBA can sweeten the pot. I know me and you discussed that in a previous video on how we would change the All-Star weekend. So I won't go into too much detail on that, but something has to change, because when you can put up 211 points, like, we're talking about the best players in the world, right? The best of the best, and we got them shooting, you know, half-court shots and 40-footers like no tomorrow and not playing any defense. So
None at all.
It's like robbing the public of the greatest pickup game to ever assemble. Like, we're talking about people play 2K all the time and they want to make their like fantasy rosters. Well, this is your chance to see it in the real deal. And you even go buy your tickets and you actually get to sit and see this. And it's just like, you're happy to see all this accumulation of talent all under one building, but it's like they're not playing any defense, they're not trying. So it really doesn't matter that this great talent is on the floor because they're not giving any effort, like none whatsoever. So those are my takeaways for the All-Star weekend. Again, weekend. So
I have to completely agree. I mean, as we try to kind of plug for that video, we had a video saying how to fix All-Star weekend. That'll be linked with this video, but we try to figure out ways that could, highlight these guys and highlight these different competitions and really make them feel special. And that's how All-Star Weekend used to feel. It felt special. I mean, even the dunk contest back when, even not that far back, as far as Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, it felt like a spectacle, and now it just feels like a part of the night that they have to run through. And I think if the talent would take this more seriously, then I think that it would enhance and make it a lot better for the fans. And if you ever looked at an All-Star game package to go to one, those people are paying a pretty penny to go see these guys. And I understand. I was listening to Gilb's Arena right before and after, and he was saying how these guys have to go to all these events because it's changed from back in the 90s, even in the early 2000s. It's changed to where these guys have to go to all these events throughout the week. They have to go to their sponsors events. If they're part of Adidas has a big party, a big meet and greet or whatever. They have to do these community service things out there. So these guys are doing a lot. And then they do get extra time off, but they're having to navigate through all this. I'm sure these guys, especially these young guys, they want to party too. So they want to get out there and enjoy All-Star Weekend. So I'm sure they're thinking of that. And, so I get that. This is supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be fun, but you got to give some type of effort. I mean, you guys they get 3 days off. They get Monday through Wednesday. Everything starts back Thursday. That wasn't done before. That's something that's happened in the last, 3 or 4 years where they get this extended vacation. So I get it. You guys play 82 games. We had our long conversation about the 65 minimum and all that and guys playing. So, I mean, they don't want to go out there and get hurt. I get that. But there's a way to play competitive where you're not going to hurt nobody. You're at least playing defense. You're at least playing hard. Even if you only play the fourth quarter like that, you still give people something to see. And people want to see something from these guys. These are the best of the best. And we want some kind of something to talk about. And when, Dame is pulling up from half court, I mean, that's nice to see, but that's nothing to talk about. That's not even pickup basketball. That's just being a joke. And what Adam Silver says that this year is going to be different. And the only way it was different was they scored more points and it was worse than last year's. You got to go back to the drawing board. So I think that, it's just got to find something that can drum up some more interest. And speaking of Dame Lillard, who was the MVP of the night, he, for some reason, played like he actually wanted to be out there and wanted to win something. He had an interesting weekend as well. I'm going to start with Shaq. Shaq has some interesting things to talk about. The Bucks, since fired Adrian Griffin, are 3-7 under Doc Rivers. And, we pencil this team in as a legit contender. We will push them all the way to the finals already. We already punched the ticket to Denver, Milwaukee, but that's not looking likely right now. So here's what Shaq had to say to Damian Lillard. He said, when it's all said and done and it don't work out, 3 people are going to get blamed. Doc, you, and Giannis. You and Giannis got to make sure the troops get it done. There's no reason with Doc being there, you all should be 3-7. And he finally said, when you get back, you have to grab some people by the necks and say, hey, this is what I need you to do. That was his advice to Dame. So what are your thoughts on Shaq's assessment for Dame and I guess for Giannis too going forward for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, so this one's pretty interesting because Dame just got there. Like, it's one thing if Dame's been there for a full season, a full training camp, 2 years, 3 years, etc., etc. But he's still new to this team. And I don't know what it would do to that locker room if you say, as your Dame Lillard, that I'd just be like, hey, I'm holding y'all's feet to the flame. Like, I need you to, talk more on defense. I need you to step here. I need you to be ready for this shot there and all things of that nature. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is on like that part because, again, since he's very new, you don't know how your team is going to respond to this new guy coming in and barking orders. It'd be different if this was Giannis and this is Giannis's team, and he can be the one that can pull everybody together and be like, hey, I've been here, 8-9 plus years. We've been through the trenches together for the most part. Like, most of this core roster has been together. And then it's like bringing in Dame. I don't know if he can convey that message appropriately, but something does need to happen. Just like you said, like Shaq also said, like Dame and Giannis is too nice.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
And I'm not sure, what goes on behind closed doors, so I don't want to, speak on that. But I just know they're obviously underperforming, and that starts with their big two. Because I'm sorry, Middleton's a great person. I'm sure he's a very talented basketball player, but he's not playing very good. So they have a big two, and Middleton, if he ever comes along, we'll call it a 2.5 to be nice. But they're going to get the blame. And, Dame, the blame is more going to fall on Giannis than Damian Lillard, because Damian Lillard's coming in there. Everybody considers him a loser. Let's call it what it is. He's had some playoff moments, but he is a loser until he gets the job done, right? So you come here to Giannis's team, they start underperforming, they get a new coach. Obviously, all of it wouldn't be Dame's fault, but nobody's expecting Dame to come there and just be the guy, because the guy is Giannis. He just needs to play backup to Giannis and support him so that Giannis can take them home, or even close some games, just like, the 1-2 punch. But, they got their work cut out for him, because Doc, he is all-time stinkers when it comes to the postseason. So he can get out-coached, and he's shown for many playoff series he can get out-coached, and they could have a great bomb team, top 10 and everything. But if you can't get them X's and O's right, and you can get out-executed for 48 minutes, your team's going to lose, even if you're the better team. It's not always about talent. It's about who's going to go out there and perform the game plan for 48 minutes. And they got their work cut out for them, man. I hear what Shaq's saying, but it's going to have to start with Giannis. Giannis is going to have to be the person. I know he was giving Damian Lillard big brother advice, but Giannis has to be the person to put this team together, because without him, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is not Dame's team, and this is, like you said, this is Giannis's team. So for Dame to come in and take him by the neck and say, you need to do this. This isn't his team. This is not Portland. He could do that in Portland. He can't do that in Milwaukee, because he's a new guy, and these guys have been together. I would love to see him do that with Bobby Portis, because Bobby Portis is gonna look at him Like, yeah, you better step away from me. So, Giannis has that clout to do that. Giannis can step up to Bobby Portis and say, "Hey, I need you to, we're not getting enough from you here." And I'm sure Portis respects him enough to be like, "Okay, he sees that, and I need to work on that." And he's the type of player I think would take that and run with it. And of course, the other members, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, and we got Jay Crowder. These guys, I think they've been there with Giannis. So I think they'll respect him enough, but I don't think it's Dame's place to do that. This is, Shaq's looking at it from a different lens and different perspective. Even when Shaq went to LA, he couldn't just tell, Rick Fox and these guys what to do because he hadn't got there yet. But once they got there, I mean, he could tell them because he was an all-star.
You see how big that man Shaq
I mean,
is?
he could. I dare
somebody to say something.
But did he have that stature? I mean, Rick Fox gonna look at him like, you ain't won nothing. So you went to the finals and got destroyed by Hakeem Olajuwon. So what you telling me to do when you couldn't get it done? So, it takes a certain player and a certain player with a certain amount of clout to do that, and that Shaq's advice should have been geared towards Giannis, other than Dame Lillard. And speaking of Dame, we're going to move over to his starting five, which he pulled together, and it's an interesting starting five. You might want to jump in for this. I'm not sure what that was alluding to. Is that his best starting five in the league, or because I missed that part?
I think it was someone just asked him to build his dream starting five.
Okay, so his dream starting five was him. What was it? Steph, LeBron, KD, and Bam Adebayo.
Yep.
Somebody doesn't fit that group, but do you think it was him throwing a little something towards somebody, or is that just what he thinks would be the dream starting five in the NBA right now? How do you feel about that?
I think that's more toward, he was very adamant about going to Miami. I think he would have really loved the idea of playing with a center like Bam, the versatility, obviously the playmaking ability, and Bam isn't a ball dominant player. You know who is ball dominant? That would be Giannis.
Giannis, yeah.
So, I mean, when you consider those two, and obviously, I mean, this team is obviously a really good team. I don't know about the fit all too well, but I mean, I could see a lineup like this pulling up for Team USA at some points. Like, these five guys could be on the floor together. And they'll have no problem. Just maybe a little bit on the defensive end, but they should be okay. But offensively, this unit is a juggernaut.
They're missing size. They're small. But
I think Bam being on this list is more of a testament to how he is kind of like that glue guy, and he wouldn't need the ball to be impactful in a team like this where you have a whole bunch of ball dominant players. And I just think they have a relationship. I think when they played FIBA together, like him, Durant, and KD, him, KD, and Bam. I think they're all on the FIBA team together, and they shared the court together, and they played some pretty good minutes. So I think that more alludes to that, like their time together. And obviously, you have to have two Pantheon greats in Steph Curry and LeBron James. I don't think you can leave those two off your list. Without KD? Some kind of no. Well, I mean, we're talking like you remember the quote that when somebody asked Draymond, who are the two players that have nothing left to prove? He said LeBron James and Steph Curry. So I don't know if Dame was just listening on that soundbite and made sure to include those two, or I don't know what kind of feelings he has toward those two. But I know there's respect at least.
I think that was a little shade towards KD because him and KD don't get along.
Well, nobody's gonna put Draymond all time over KD unless they're on something. So he's good.
I mean, I don't think KD has anything left to prove either, but I think.
Whoa! Come on now.
That's a topic for another time.
You know, KD has not done it by himself, or at least
but his career has been worthy enough to where he doesn't have a ton to prove.
He still needs a championship where he is the guy. That's all I'm gonna say.
I agree.
At least one. Somewhat. You don't have to have 5, 6 of being the guy. Just give me at least one to show the world for one season you were the best player on a championship team that won the championship. But what are your thoughts about that team?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see from what you're saying is, you know, he feels like that team is the best fit for him. And maybe that's not shade to Giannis because maybe they're not the best fit. They're trying to figure that out. We're over halfway through the season. They're still trying to figure it out. So I can see him saying that in that manner to where these are the guys that if we all came together would be the best fit for each other. Whereas, you know, you leave it out Jokic and these guys, and maybe he's just looking at it from a purely, you know, USA team type of thing or a USA team where this starting 5 would be the perfect team to just run through the Olympics and run through FIBA, run through the other countries. And I get that. So I'm not going to say that he's throwing anything at Giannis. I don't think if I was building a dream lineup, I don't think those would be the names. I mean, most of those guys would be in there, but I don't know if I would go with Bam. But if I was building a dream, you know, I'm sure they were saying his dream team, but if I was doing a dream, Dame probably wouldn't be on there. So in the starting lineup. So
not the way he's been playing though.
Yeah, I mean he's been playing good, but he's been also, you know, for the Bucks, this last weekend he's been playing good, but for the Bucks, you know, if you see him play, if you see some of his highlights, the shots he puts up is just wow.
They call load lights.
Yeah, he's put up some. I was just like, wow, why are you shooting that? And that could have him and Giannis might have some things going on backstage or backcourt